So a couple months ago, I did a spoiler-free review on Persona 5, and I think you guys should go check that out in case you are checking out this video, because this is what you need to know about Persona 5 getting into it. So if you haven't looked at anything related to Persona 5 yet, then go look at the spoiler-free review where I just give my thoughts of having played the game for 70 plus hours playing the Japanese version, and you guys can come back to this video. So go ahead and do that, but let's just jump right into things. So the first thing I want to talk about is how Persona 5 is a really good starting point to play Persona if you've never played it before, and overall just how it's really easy to get into. So the game itself is just designed with a very simple and I guess just convenient UI and a very good user interface. That's what UI is, like very good user interface and really nicely designed menus so that everything is easy to access, aside from the game itself being easy to access because it's really easy to jump into. It's very linear, it's very open at the same time with just how it handles things, but more so the game itself is just done really well, and it's in a really well way, I guess. Okay, what's the word? It's done really well in the way that you can just go into it. Like, you can just buy the game, right? Let's say you were just randomly walking into GameStop or wherever, Walmart, Best Buy, wherever the hell you buy games, right? Or you're looking at Amazon shit and you're like, hey, I'm gonna order this, right? You get your copy of Persona 5, you put it into your PS4, you start playing it, right? Immediately, you're thrown into really good gameplay, something that's very engaging. The music is awesome, the opening is awesome, everything is just like, whoa, holy shit, this is really good. But the second you start playing the game, everything is very easy to access and everything is very clear to you. So I guess it's just a way of having visual clarity that makes things in this game very easy to get into. With that being said, since it's so easy to get into and the game is just so well made and everything is so brand new and updated compared to older Persona games, this one is very easy to get into. You don't have to really play any of the other ones to kind of get what's going on with the story in this game. There are little cameos here and there to older games in Persona 5, but it's not anything that's gonna like break your mind and be like, holy shit, I have to play this because sequel. It's not anything like that. Now, with that being said, if you do want to start playing the Persona series, Persona 1 and 2 are pretty outdated. So Persona 1 itself is way more outdated than Persona 2, and that's just in terms of gameplay. The story for all of the Persona games, to an extent, is really good. I like the story in 2, I like the story in 1, I like the story in 3, I like the story in 4, although I like 3 and 2 more than I like 4. And, but I like the gameplay in 4 more than I like the gameplay in 2, etc., etc. Those are just differences between games being released and games being updated and being, more new, I guess, and more recent. But Persona 1 itself, the gameplay is pretty damn old, and it's kind of hard to get into unless you have a lot of patience and you're ready to grind. And with that being said, you also have to grind a lot in Persona 5, but it's definitely way easier and more convenient, and you just have an overall, I guess, funner time. I know it's not really a word, but, it's just really grindy and long and a really, I guess, slow process to play Persona 1 because you have to grind a lot. There's a lot of stuff that you have to go for. It's one of those games where you kind of just want to play it with a guide, or else you'll get lost and you'll be really confused on what the hell you're doing or what's going on. The game doesn't tell you a lot of things regarding its like mechanics and shit like that. You kind of have to just figure things out, and it's one of those things where it's just older and they just, I guess, expect you to be a god or a genius. So for people to play that, way back then, unless they were like really smart or even still just if they got lost and stuff, I feel bad because I know when I was like younger and stuff before, I would sit down and get on the computer, and if I got stuck on a game, I could just find something in like a minute, 2 minutes, and it would just be like that, and it would be like boom, and I can solve the problem and continue playing the game. This is just one of those games where you want to play it with a guide because you'll probably end up having that happen a lot. Persona 2, not as often, although you might still get lost. Persona 3, definitely not. Persona 4, if you do, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Persona 5, as of right now, and again, keep in mind, I'm playing the game in Japanese, right? 70 plus hours into it because it's not out in America yet. It comes out next month. I have spent all this time playing the game, and I only really got lost once, and all I had to do was leave the dungeon and come back the next day. And that was literally it. I literally just left the dungeon, and I was like, alright, I probably just did everything that I could do now. I can't really do anything else. So I left, and then I came back the next day. Like, it automatically brought me back into the dungeon for me to continue doing whatever the hell I was doing, with the puzzle and continuing on with the story. So that was really easy, right? That was, like I mentioned earlier, it's so easy to get into. Everything is just so accessible, and it's so good. And it's one of those things where I don't know how many times I can say those words, but those are the only words I can use for it because you just have to play it yourself. And I really want to emphasize that people should definitely buy this game, whether they're Persona fans or not. They should try it out if they like RPGs or just video games in general, because it's just one of those games where it's just so damn good, and it's so well made. It looks good, it sounds good, and it feels good to play. It's just great. It's great. Like, what? You can't really I can't really complain about much. I had one boss fight. The second boss fight, I did not like it a lot, but it was not bad. It was just one of those things where, oh, this boss is a little annoying because, insert spoilers here, you know, but just that boss's mechanic and its gimmick was a little more on the annoying side, but there's always RPG bosses that have annoying gimmicks and mechanics, so it's something that I'm used to. There's always going to be that one boss in every game that's kind of just like, oh, ew. But it was not anything to the point where I'm complaining about it or it's affecting the story or it's affecting, well, it affects the story because, you know, boss fight, but it's not affecting my enjoyment of the game. It's not making me hate the game just because I'm not having fun with one fight, with one boss fight. That does not ruin the experience for me. The experience itself is amazing. And again, this game is so easy to get into. It's literally just like the only word I can say for it. It's just so good and just well made, and I've repeated that so many times in this video and even in the review video, but those are the only words I can use, and you guys got to understand this. Like, I know you guys aren't playing the game, so you're probably like, Kami, I don't get what the hell you're talking about, or bro, like, you're stuttering too much, or whatever the hell you might, you know, say down below in the comments. I don't care, but it's just one of those things where you got to experience it for yourself, and I want you guys to experience this game for yourself when it comes out. Another thing in this game is the social link mechanic, where essentially you spend time with other characters throughout the game that are, you know, either party members or not. They're just characters that you go and you interact with, and you have these little social events where you talk and you build relationships with these characters, and they're all very interesting, and they always had onto the Persona storyline, which this is a thing after 3. So 3 and 4 have social links, and now 5, of course, is going to continue with the social link trend, but it's very fun to do these, and I want to emphasize to new players, do the social links, all right? Max out as many of them as you can on your first run, because I know playing without a guide and playing a new game, you know, on your first time, you're not going to get all the social links maxed out on your first run, most likely, but max out as many of them as you can. Try not to neglect any of them, and it's just a mechanic where you just go in and you do this. Now you're probably wondering, why the hell would I want to do that? Well, one, when you have maxed out social links, your party members in your actual party will get ultimate personas when you max their social links out. So if you want to get your other party members that's not your main character to get upgraded and buffed, then hell yeah. I mean, why the hell would you not want to do it anyways? But you go ahead and you do that, and everybody else gets ultimate personas. All right, you do that. Do yourself that favor. You also unlock these passive buffs that will add on to your characters. So in case you guys don't know what a buff is a skill or something like a, you know, something just like a bonus, right? A buff is a bonus. So whether you use a skill or it's a bonus stat that's added to a weapon or some armor or something that you have, something that just gives you a boost in something. So you can get buffs that raise up your attack, your defense, your resistance to magic, your resistance to physical, your evasiveness, etc., right? These are just different buffs. These social link events will give you passive buffs like this. That'll give you damage boost, and it'll allow you to just have these, you know, buffs. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about buffs. They're just buffs. It's not hard to understand what the hell a buff is. Unless you've never played an RPG before and you don't know what the hell a buff or a debuff is, well, then I'm kind of disappointed in you. Why are you clicking on this video? Why are you looking at this? No, I'm kidding, if you guys don't know. And then a debuff is the opposite of a buff. It's just, you know, lowering something, which you can buff the opponent if you really wanted to, and you can debuff the opponent, etc., etc. I don't know why anybody else would buff the opponent. It's not something smart you should do, and you probably will never end up buffing the opponent, but it's a thing that can happen. Max out your social links, because one, you're getting more of the story, so that's more of the content out of the game that you paid for to play and enjoy. And two, you get these passive buffs that benefit you. So if you guys like free benefits, keep in mind, passive is something that's always active, right? It's not something that you have to take a turn up to use or anything like that. It's not like using a skill like, oh, that took up a turn. No, passive buffs, anything that's passive in anything is just something that's always going on. Now there might be a specific let's say condition for that passive, like there are for Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, which is a Dragon Ball Z gacha game. The characters all have passives in that, and some of them are conditional, like you get your passive on one character, for example, if your HP is like above like 20% or something. Persona's not really doing that. You don't really have like all these crazy ass conditions, as far as I know. The ones that I've seen, because again, 70 hours in, I haven't seen all of them. I don't have all of my social links maxed out, etc., etc. But you know, these passives are just unconditional boosts, so get the unconditional boost. If you ever get lost in the game, and this is something I emphasize whenever I talk about RPGs in general, try talking to everybody, because 9 to 10 times you either will get information on what you're supposed to do next, and you'll get a hint on where you're supposed to go, or you'll just talk to the person that you're supposed to talk to anyways, and then you can continue on with the game. So do yourself that favor and talk to everybody if you're ever lost. And just in general, whenever you go to new areas and stuff, try to explore, try to get all the chests, etc., etc. Just do these things. It's free shit, literally. In an RPG, it's free stuff. Go get it. Now, regarding Personas and Persona Fusion, I guess I'll go over that once the game actually comes out and I start my LP, because again, I'm doing that, so subscribe if you guys want to stay tuned for that. It's going to start day 1, April 4th. I'm going to try and get the first episode out that same exact day. You know, I am going to be like working my ass off to actually have these get uploaded, but it's going to be fun. I'm going to have a good time doing it. I've been waiting for Persona 5 for a long time, and, you know, I guess I'll cover the Personas and the actual stuff with that once I get to that, you know, point. We'll cross the bridge once we get there. But what I wanted to say, I guess, with this video, and, you know, I probably rambled and stumbled a lot, but hey, there's just not a lot of words I can use for Persona 5. It's just one of those things that you have to experience, and I want you guys to experience it, and I want you guys to understand that it is easy to get into it. It's a lot of fun, and, you know, there's no harm in trying it. You're not gonna, you know, be bugged out if you like buy it and, you know, for whatever reason you don't like it, which in that case I'll be disappointed, because Persona 5 is a really good game. It's not a disappointment like Final Fantasy 15 where you actually start playing the game and then it actually becomes, you know, not fun after like a couple hours. It sucks. But we'll save the Final Fantasy 15 regrets for another video, and I'll talk about that. But I just wanted to kind of just let you guys know Persona 5 is easy to get into. It's a good place for you to start the series. Don't worry about it. Of course, if you always want to go and play the other games, you can play all of them if you own a PS3 or a PS Vita. So there you go. And Persona 5 is also going to be on PS3. So yeah, technically all you need to play all the Persona games is a PS3, and then boom, there you go. You can play all of them. Well, except for Innocent Sin, so you would need a PSP for that, or a PS Vita. But you guys get the point. It's a fun series. I hope you guys try it out. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and feel free to subscribe. Like I said, I'll be doing the Persona 5 Let's Play the day the game comes out. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.